A quick video for you on composite hose, how it's made, what it is, what are the features and benefits, and what can we compare it to. One of the questions that we get the most from the hose and rubber customer base, whether you're a distributor or manufacturer, they ask us, what is composite hose? How's it made? Why should I use it? Why would I use that instead of rubber hose? Well, there are some distinct advantages to composite hose. First, let me compare it to traditional rubber hose for you. When vulcanization was invented, they took raw rubber and found a way to make it more pliable and yet more resilient and long-lasting by adding sulfur and vulcanizing that rubber. Well, that's great, and it led to more shoes and hose and tires and so forth. But it also had an inherent problem, and that is that the vulcanization process required raw rubber, which at the time came only from trees. We didn't have synthetic rubber, and we wouldn't have it for close to another 100 years. In about 1890, 1900, you can check the date, but in London there was a patent filed for what they called wire-bound hose. Well, the wire-bound hose, which was basically the predecessor or the first generation composite hose, it did not require any rubber at all. There is an internal helical wire. There's an external helical wire. So what you see on the outside is also on the inside. On top of that first layer of wire, you've got some vapor barrier, kind of looks like plastic wrap. Then there's some type of reinforcement, polyester, canvas of some sort, additional layers, and then there's this cover, which is nylon. In this case, it's a nylon, it's printed on, it can be color-coded green, it says Unichem on it, or chemical hose. It's important to understand that that internal helical wire, that naturally, just by virtue of its design, it makes this a vacuum hose because it's that inside, that's basically the tube of the hose. That inside wire stops the hose from collapsing under vacuum. The external wire is what contains the hose and gives it its PSI and its burst strength. It's important to understand that the material of that internal helix can be of different materials. Now, it's always going to be metal, of course, but it could be polypropylene, so they can be come in contact with certain chemicals. Could be just plain old galvanized, if say it's a lighter, very mild oil of some sort, or it could be stainless if that's needed. And the same holds true for that external helix. Could be galvanized, could be stainless. We can put any types of ends on here for you. Now, we'll make the assemblies, or we can certify you to make assemblies if the volume is there. The end fittings, typically they're male pipe thread. We could put a flange on there for you. We could put a C or an E cam and groove end for you on there as well. Traditionally, we see them with male pipe thread, 10 footers, 20 footers. A couple of things to think about that might not be obvious when you compare composite hose to a rubber hose. First of all, it's a lot lighter. You could take a comparable 2-inch size rubber hose and it would weigh quite a bit more than this. Now, this one's got kind of the end fitting on here, so it's not that lightweight, but it's considerably lighter weight than the alternative. The design also makes it really resilient as a hose without worrying about scuffing up the covers and so forth. It's very flexible. Now, with a 2-inch piece of hose, a rubber hose, I wouldn't be able to do this, especially if it were a vacuum hose that had some type of wire reinforcement or something, forget it. But this is super flexible. Another advantage is when composite begins to fail, everything will fail at some time, okay? Let's understand that. Nothing lasts forever. When this begins to fail, you're going to see it seep or an occasional drip, but it's going to be more self-evident than a catastrophic burst where you've got some chemical flowing through a rubber hose and then suddenly, just because it wasn't maintained, wasn't replaced at the right interval, boom. And you've got a major leak, a major hazard, a major mishap, an accident. This is going to make failures more evident. It's going to make them more preventable, it's going to make them easier to maintain, and it's going to make them easier to address when they do happen. You're not going to have a catastrophic failure with a composite hose. So lightweight, flexibility, extreme versatility in terms of that helix and the combination, whether you want a galvanized inside, polypropylene inside, a stainless outside, a galvanized outside, you name it. You got all kinds of combinations. This one happens to have poly on the inside, galvanized outside, and hence the PG in the part number. Please reach out to us via LinkedIn or YouTube or however you're seeing this video. Maybe we sent this to you as an email. And let us know certain applications that you have in mind for a composite hose. I guarantee you there's opportunity out there that you're overlooking, and we'd love to help you with that. Hey, thanks for watching. Have a great day.
tappat hakten alla. Fest, full fest hela dagen.